Hi guys, it's Mr. Worm. I just want to let you know that we're back. We're working, hopefully. Miss you guys. It's not the same without being in the classroom. And I know that this is difficult. It's difficult for everybody. Hopefully you saw yesterday a lot of the teachers and staff for the high school were driving around the neighborhood, waving, beeping horns, all sorts of stuff. It was just our way of saying that we miss you, we're thinking about you, and that we're still here. Even though we're not in school, we're still here for you. Okay? So always reach out to us if you have any problems whatsoever. Okay? I'm going to read chapter 2 of Esperanza Rising today. Part of it. It's a very long chapter, so I'm only going to read part of it at a time. And there'll be some questions that go along with it. Read it. Listen to the video. Okay, use the translators if you need to. That's fine. Use the dictionary. Whatever you need to use to understand it better, use it. Okay, always call me if you need to. My number is 516-410-6541. There'll be some questions that go with this chapter, and I'm going to ask you guys to try to call me and tell me what you think of the chapter. I want to try to talk about things more. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of time left in the year, but I want to try to get us some conversation going. Okay, so where we left Esperanza last was with her father. They were in the vineyard listening to the earth. Okay, they were listening to the heartbeat. Okay, not a real heartbeat, but a heartbeat of the earth. Okay, he wanted her to learn that people have a connection to the earth, to the world around them, and that she just needs to be patient and the fruit will just fall to her hand. What that means is if she's patient, good things will happen. Okay, so chapter 2, Las Uvas, grapes. 6 years later, so this is 6 years after where we just left off. Papa handed Esperanza the knife, curved like a scythe, its fat wooden handle fitting snugly in her palm. This job was usually reserved for the eldest son of a wealthy rancher, but since Esperanza was an only child and Papa's pride and glory, she was always given the honor. Last night she watched Papa sharpen the knife back and forth across a stone. She knew the tool was edged like a razor. "Cuidate los dedos," said Papa. "Watch your fingers." The August sun promised a dry afternoon in Aguascalientes, Mexico. Everyone who lived and worked on El Rancho de Rosas was gathered at the edge of the field. Esperanza's family, the house servants in their long aprons, the vaqueros already sitting on their horses ready to ride out to the cattle, and 50 or 60 campesinos, straw hats in their hands, holding their own knives ready. They were covered top to bottom in long-sleeved shirts, baggy pants tied at the ankles with string, and bandanas wrapped around their foreheads and necks to protect them from the sun, dust, and spiders. Esperanza, on the other hand, wore a light silk dress that stopped above her summer boots, and no hat. On top of her head sat a wide satin ribbon was tied in a big bow, the tails trailing in her long hair. Okay, just go back and read that again. Think of the description of what just happened, is that all these people are waiting for something. The clusters were heavy on the vine and ready to deliver. Clusters of what, I wonder? Think about where they are. They're on a farm. Esperanza's parents, Ramona and Sixto Ortega, stood nearby. Mama, tall and elegant, her hair in the usual braided wreath that crowned her head, and Papa, barely taller than Mama, his graying mustache twisted up at the sides. He swept his hand toward the grapevines, signaling Esperanza. When she walked towards the arbors and glanced back at her parents, they both smiled and nodded, encouraging her forward. When she reached the vines, she separated the leaves and carefully grasped a thick stem. She put her knife to it and with a quick swipe The heavy cluster of grapes dropped into her waiting hand. So we know what they were cutting and what they're growing on this farm. Esperanza walked back to Papa and handed him the fruit. Papa kissed it and held it up for all to see. La cosecha, said Papa. Harvest! Ole, ole! A cheer echoed around them. The campesinos, the field workers, spread out over the land and began the task of reaping the fields. Esperanza stood between Mama and Papa with her arms linked to theirs and admired the activity of the workers. "Papi, this is my favorite time of year," she said, watching the brightly colored shirts of the workers slowly moving among the arbors. Wagons rattled back and forth from the fields to the big barns where the grapes would be stored until they went to the winery. Is the reason because when the picking is done it will be someone's birthday and time for a big fiesta? Papa asked. Esperanza smiled. When the grapes delivered their harvest, she always turned another year. This year she would be 13. So every year at the harvest, it's her birthday. The picking would take, it's loading, 3 weeks, and then, like every other year, Mama and Papa would host a fiesta for the harvest and for her birthday. Marisol Rodriguez, her best friend, would come with her family to celebrate. Her father was a fruit rancher and they lived on the neighboring property. So they were both ranchers. Even though their houses were acres apart, they met every Saturday beneath the holm oak on a rise between the two ranches. Her other friends, Chita and Bertina, would be at the party too, but they lived farther away, and Esperanza didn't see them as often. Their classes at St. Francis didn't start again until after the harvest, and she couldn't wait to see them. When they were all together, they talked about one thing, their quinceañeras, the presentation parties they would have when they turned 15. They still had 2 more years to wait, but so much to discuss. The beautiful white gowns they would wear, the big celebrations where they would be presented, and the sons' families who would dance with them. After their quinceañeras, they would be old enough to be courted, marry, and become las patronas, the heads of their households, rising to the positions of their mothers before them. Esperanza preferred to think, though, that she and her someday husband would live with Mama and Papa forever, because she couldn't imagine living anywhere other than El Rancho de Rosas, or with any fewer servants, or without being surrounded by the people who adored her. Okay, so that's it for today, but I want you to answer a few questions. Okay, I'm going to tell you now, but also I'm going to write them into the document. Okay, so listen up. I want you to tell me, what does Esperanza's father grow on the farm? What happens every year at the harvest? Okay, who are her friends that she looks forward to meeting each time? And what do they talk about? Okay, so again, here's the questions. Okay, so is any hiccup with the internet? What does Esperanza's family grow on this farm? Okay, what happens every year at the harvest? Why does Esperanza get excited? Who are the friends that Esperanza mentions? She mentions 3 girls' names. Which of these girls lives closest to her? And what do the girls talk about? What happens after this big event for a girl? Okay, and lastly, just like last time, tell me what you think of the book. Are you enjoying it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What don't you like about it? Okay, I think it's pretty interesting. Let's see where it goes. Okay, I'll see you soon for the next part. Bye-bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and just remember that we're all here for you. Bye-bye.